It's one of the big issues I have with some of the younger generations because I feel it mostly from them. They're so involved in the feeling of something versus what does the situation actually need? Sometimes we need to step out of the feelings and just help someone, be of support to whatever the present situation is. Over the years, as parents, we have faced younger people who we were either like helping out and letting them live in our house, or maybe they were supporting us with childcare. And we would be, in our judgment, very generous with them. And then when we would ask for support, it was always like, I just need to see how I'm feeling instead of like, oh my God, yeah, you guys are in need. Let me help.
You're so right. The problem with feelings is that oftentimes people don't know how to interpret them. The feelings send a message to the mind, to the brain, where it may give an interpretation according to what we were brought up with. I may have this feeling now, not understanding that this feeling is actually caused by something when I was 5 years old, and I'm reliving the same thing over and over again. And so part of what I consider as yoga, I would say awareness. If I had to choose two, it would be awareness and service. But the first one would be awareness, because without awareness, I'm not going to do service or beneficial service. But if I have awareness, I can be awareness of my emotions and ask, where are they coming from? Are they helpful? And what is motivating me? Am I using these emotions because of my personal desires? Am I using these emotions to avoid pain? These are most of the reasons people do anything. And the emotions kind of give the spice on top of why I'm doing it, and oftentimes distract us from what really we want to do. People say, listen to your body. All the time. Listen to your body. It's true. Obviously, listen to your body. You're dead tired. As Huberman or others say, if your grip is feeling like you can't have a grip, you probably need to take a rest day. That's okay. However, if I am full of awareness, listening to my body, most days, what would happen is I would want to go watch Netflix and eat donuts. Because 1,000 years ago, or maybe 100,000 years ago, I had to conserve my energy and I had to conserve my calories, because yesterday we had a rabbit, but I don't know when I'm going to eat my next meal. Instinctively, if I really, really listen to my body, I'm going to grow really fat, really big, and just watch TV all day long. We're learning from our ancestors, but we are not living the life of our ancestors. And if we don't have the wisdom to take the good stuff from the past, but convert it, make it work for today, then we're just going to keep using cliches from the past that don't function anymore. For example, for what do I need to eat, right? I understand it comes from the past, but I'm not living in a cave. I'm not suffering from no calories, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't have to run after a rabbit. How can we learn from the past, whether it's food, whether it's the yoga world, whether it's Ayurveda that comes from India and was created a long time ago? And how do we look at it intelligently and then use it, manifest it today in a way that's practical, that's helpful, that really works for what we need at this day and age?
Let's assume that most people aren't aware of what they need or the state they're even in. As an expert in awareness and mindfulness, what are 1 to 3 things that someone could immediately do that would help bring them awareness to their physical and mental states?
The first thing is to pause. Most of us don't know to stop. And people wake up, they're right at their phone, and they just run, work, run to the gym, run to dinner, etc. So there's no time to even develop any awareness. Forget meditation, right? Meditation is lovely. It's beautiful. It's so far off for most human beings that we need to start way, way more baby steps. I say the moment you wake up, that's the first step. So you wake up in the morning and you make yourself a new rule, build a new habit. And I would say the first hour even of the morning is so crucial to wake up, put your phone in a drawer somewhere else in a different room, charging. So one can wake up, have that 2 minutes of awareness, right? I feel my body. That takes about 30 seconds. I'm aware of my thoughts, my feelings, everything that's going on, maybe another 20 seconds. And then I take a full minute to recalibrate. Recalibrate means, for me, because the body and mind are so united, guys watching, try this with me. You're going to use your 2 fingers, bring them to the lips and just stretch them to the ears and then release the hands. Honestly, I feel different than 10 seconds ago.
So true. Yeah.
It's weird, but you smile, the whole body bubbles from within. It's like you just drank a bottle of champagne and it's free. It doesn't matter if you'll become a trillionaire. Stress will be there. Work will be there. It never ends. You'll always have to go and poop. Sorry, people. Even if you were the great Princess Diana, she sometimes had diarrhea. These things happen. You cannot avoid them. So start right now with the place of, I'm happy, I'm joyful, joy is better than happy because I think it's more sustainable. Happy goes like a roller coaster. And that's the first step. Right? So you start with awareness. It changes your whole day. I'll add to that one more practice, kind of building on that, maybe every hour, every 2 hours, every lunch break and dinner break, starting with pauses. That's it. Starting with a 1 minute pause, a 10-second pause, closing the eyes. You don't have to say a prayer for the food. Just shut. Finding that moment of silence, you'll suddenly feel all the energy of the food without the woo-woo stuff. I don't like the woo-woo stuff. It'll be there. And then when you'll eat and you taste a pineapple or anything you're putting in your mouth, you'll just be so aware of the flavors of everything. These are easy practices that are fun and help the mind come back to the present moment so we can be less distracted and start to have awareness of what's out of balance. Because really, nothing is as bad as people think. All that happens is we're out of balance and we need to come back to balance. It's that simple.
I talk about that mindfulness and pause a lot when I'm talking about just ancestral eating and of how to get back to listening to the body, that we're so confused in today's society about what to eat because we're being manipulated or the foods are triggering cravings that would not normally be there because of all the artificial flavors and whatnot. And so I love that. The pause is so important. What is something that you think people misunderstand about what yoga is really meant to do?
I guess there's a few different camps, I would say. The camp that believes that it's all physical and I'll get stronger or I'll lose weight because I'm doing a hot yoga and I'm going to sweat it out, though later you're going to have to drink that water back in. But anyway, the physical camp that says yoga will really get me flexible and strong, which I think it will. I'm biased, but I would say it's one of the best practices if you do them in sustainable ways, in ways that are not pushing yourself to kill yourself to get the handstand and then have wrist issues for the rest of your life. Or I just followed the sequence and it was a lot of hip openers. And eventually you sit with the leg behind the head and you're like, okay. And then eventually your leg goes behind the back and you look really freaky, but it doesn't feel freaky. It feels like, okay. I know for myself, I got so open that my hips, I didn't balance it out with enough strength for my hips. And I had what they call the Ashtanga butt syndrome, which was really, I started having pain, like sciatic pain, which doesn't make sense as somebody as flexible as I was. But I started strengthening myself, walking more, doing hip rotations, and I found the balance. So even within the yoga world, I think people need to look within the physical world a lot more at what they're being taught and not just take everything as a word of God, because most of this is still relatively new. And there are few people, but not enough people that are willing to question what was being taught and to say, okay, this was taught now for a few decades. People love it. It does do great stuff. However, is this going to be sustainable? Let's look at people that did a younger, what happens to them at 60, 70, and 80. Let's see about diets. Let's see about the body. So for me, I've learned that I loved what I was studying when I was younger. But when I turned 40, I created my own system because I couldn't find something that was strong enough physically, opening enough flexibility, and yet sustainable enough that I'm not going to burn out. I can say today in a week 54, I'm feeling better than I felt when I was 27. 100%, not just as a gimmick. I really do feel better. Finding the ways that we can do it in the right, sustainable way and not just say, oh, I'm Bikram, I'm Ashtanga, I'm Iyengar. The hell, I'm Doron Yoga. All of these are just names. I don't care. What matters is, what does the practice do and does it fit you personally?
If you enjoyed the clip from the podcast, make sure to check out the next video up here or head over to watch the full episode down here. And before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Come on. Yeah, thanks for watching.